Hello guys, welcome to another tutorial of Unreal Engine. I'm gonna pick up from where we left last time. If you watched my previous tutorial on the health system, you should have something like this, where we basically can hit some characters and the health goes down, and then at some point they are considered dead. So today I was thinking we could do like a killable kind of tree. So the idea would be to what happens when the actor in case dies, and I want to do like a tree that transforms into logs, but I want to do it in a slightly different way. There are many ways to approach this. So I just went ahead with the old project that we had, and I created a new blueprint. I called it BP3. Let me just move this over here. And what I did was just add a bunch of static meshes here, all based on the cylinder static mesh with a bunch of scale changes, and just to make like a rough tree. These are all in line with the default scene root. So we have this root kind of tree trunk. Then we have these three master or big branches, and then we have a bunch of small branches with kind of random rotations and stuff like that. So the way I've seen this implemented in a lot of places is you typically have like imagine a palm tree with a big trunk, and then you basically hit it, and it dies and it transforms into a bunch of logs. And usually that transition is not very nice. So I was thinking that I could probably do this in a more direct way. So imagine that all these branches just fall down, even the trunk falls down after the tree dies. So that's what I'm going to try to accomplish. So the first thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to add the health component to this tree, just so we can hit it and basically kill it. And I'm going to also add this tree to our playground here, and basically we can hit this tree and it takes damage, and when it reaches 0 it dies, just like the other actors in the scene. I'm just gonna change the health of this tree to around 20, so I just have to hit it twice and it immediately dies. So what do I want to do here? The health component knows when the actor dies, but the actor itself does not know when it dies. So one way to do this, one way to address this issue, is to make the actor implement an interface. An interface is basically a contract that a particular class or a particular entity will honor some functions. So I'm going to go ahead and create in blueprint interface. I'm going to name it BPI Killable. And I'm going to say that this interface has one single function called onDeath. And this basically means that if we go back to our tree, we go to the class settings, and we say that it implements the BPI Killable interface. And this means that the tree now responds to the onDeath event onDeath. And we can test this out. We can just do a print string here, and we say I am the tree and I died. That. So now one thing we can do in our health component, and this is going to be generic for all actors that or where we add this health component to. What we can do here is when we set the component to dead, let me just move this out of the way, we can also do get owner. So we get the owner of our component, and we can do onDeath. And basically what this is going to try to do is it's going to check if the actor actually inherits from this interface, or implements, sorry, this interface. And if it does implement this interface, it's going to call the onDeath method. So if we try this out now and we try to kill our tree, we should see I am the tree and I died. Perfect. So we have a way now for the health component to communicate to the actor that it actually died, which is pretty cool. So next thing we want to do is when the tree dies, we basically want to last of all, we want to kill basically destroy the tree actor, so it disappears. But we want to replace all the individual components with other components or other actors that we can later use for, say, picking it up or using it as a weapon or whatever else you want to do with the parts of the tree that you just collected, that you just destroyed. So to start this off, I am going to need a couple of blueprints. I'm going to just create, let's see, I'm going to create a new actor. I'm going to call it BP_root. This is going to basically mean the tree trunk. I call it root, but I could have called it tree trunk. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to add a static mesh to this. And in this static mesh, I'll just put the cylinder that I used. I think it was this one. I'm going to leave it without scale, and I'll explain in a bit why. But one thing I do want to do is set this to simulate physics, and yeah, that's pretty much it for now. So we have the BP root. Let's get rid of it. I am going to create as well, I'm just gonna duplicate this and call it a BP branch, and Control save and duplicate and name it BP small branch. So keep in mind you could do this in as many parts as you want. You could do just a couple, you could have like two models, one for the trunk, one for the just for all the branches, or you could, I don't know, you can just imagine how many parts you would want your tree to be split into when you kill it. I'm just doing 3 pieces because, you know, random. So what am I going to do now? So in my tree, when it dies, one thing I want to do is I want to go through all the static meshes that I have here, the static mesh components. So I'm going to do get components, if I can type, by class. I'm going to do static mesh component, and I want to iterate this, so I'm going to use a for each loop, and for each of these guys here I basically want to do a small check, and I'm going to do a name comparison. We could potentially do it in other ways, but this is the simplest way just to illustrate the point. I'm going to move this out of the way. And what I want to do here is actually for each one, well, to start off, I'm going to get the get world, I'm going to get the transform for this particular static mesh. And I am going to, actually I already have this variable here because when I copied the tree from another project, it copied this. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to do a set, and I'm going to store the transform of the current static mesh that we are going through here. So, because I'm going to need it later, and I'll explain why. I'm also going to get the display name of this static mesh, and I'm going to use this to do starts with, and I'm going to use this as a branch, and connect these. So what I'm going to say here is, if the name of this static mesh starts with small branch and we are ignoring case, so this is going to work. If it's one of these guys here, basically what I want to do is I want to spawn actor from class, and I am going to spawn it at the current component transform. This is why I wanted to store it, because I want to spawn this this branch exactly in the same spot where this other one was, and I'm going to spawn a BP small branch, and I'm just gonna leave it default. There's a bunch of options here. You can say don't spawn if it's colliding, or spawn if it's colliding, try to spawn, try to adjust location, etc, etc. Let's just leave it there. So basically we are using this to spawn our small branches, this part. Next I'm gonna do another one of these checks here. So if this name starts with branch, I'm gonna do another branch here. So if it's not a small branch, then we go to this other section, and if it is named branch, if it starts with branch, so it's these three little ones here, I'm going to just do the same thing here, except I'm going to spawn a BP branch. Same thing. And finally, I already know that I already got these guys. I got these guys, so the last static mesh on this particular actor is going to be the trunk. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm not even going to check. I'm just going to assume that it's the BP root actor that we want to spawn. And there's one thing missing. I just spawned all, get rid of this, I just spawned all the replacement actors instead of these static components, but I still want to destroy the tree. Destroy actor self. So this means I get to destroy this particular BP tree, and I replace all its components with BP root, branches, and small branches. So let's give this a try. I'm gonna hit the tree twice, and hit it. The tree disappears, and it gets replaced by all the BP components. Now you can make this as simple or as complex as you want. There's a kind of a physics bugs here. I think it's just because these tree trunks are too small, and maybe the physics engine kind of messes up a little bit, especially when the character is standing on top of them. It's pretty funny. But yeah, it's one way to do it, and you could later use these BP root branches and small branches that you could eventually make them pickable, so you could just pick them from the ground and add them to an inventory and use them for crafting stuff, and you can make the tree as pretty as you want. It's not really pretty right now, but you know, illustrates the point. So that's it, guys. Next time I have to see what I'm going to try to accomplish, so I'll see you then. Have fun.